So you just beat Metroid Prime Remastered and are wondering what to do with your life. Well, luckily for you, Nintendo announced today that Metroid Fusion would be coming to Nintendo Switch Online's expansion pack through the Game Boy Advance app. And because this is Metroid 4, I'm going to give you 4 reasons why you should check this out when it releases March 9th. Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion have a lot more in common than you think. Not just because they're both Metroid games, but they came out the same week. In fact, they came out a day apart. Metroid Fusion came out on November 17th, 2002, a day before Metroid Prime came out on the GameCube. So if you want to live that 2002 experience, you can play these games back to back, whether it be Metroid Fusion first and Prime Remastered later, or Prime Remastered first and Fusion later. So even though Metroid Prime Remastered and Fusion on the Switch aren't necessarily back-to-back releases, they are coming out pretty close to each other, almost like they did in 2002.
That's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Sadly, there's no GBA Link connectivity, so you can't get the Fusion suit in Metroid Prime Remastered. Oh, I'd love to see that in HD. Bitterness aside, if you've never played a 2D Metroid before, luckily for you, Metroid Fusion is a great 2D Metroid for beginners because it's a fairly linear experience, at least in the first half of the game, where you're largely guided by Samus's ship computer, Adam. He tells you where to go, he doesn't exactly tell you how to get there, but then the game opens up a lot more near the latter half. It is more handholdy than most 2D Metroid games, but it also doesn't treat you like a baby, you know? And if you're playing it on the Switch Online app, good news, you have save states and the rewind feature. So that's going to be really handy when you're faced off against a really tough boss. A boss like the SAX. Even before you fight this clone of Samus, this thing is absolutely terrifying. Anytime it shows up on screen, the music dramatically shifts in tone. You hear its menacing footsteps, and you are just praying that it doesn't find you, because if it does, you are screwed beyond belief. The SAX is absolutely cool, and we didn't get to see it in Metroid Dread, aside from that intro summarizing the events of Metroid Fusion, so if you ever wanted to play that plot recap, well, that's what Metroid Fusion is. Go have fun. And this brings me to my final point. It'll help you appreciate Metroid Dread that much more because it's set right before Metroid Dread. And some plot elements in Dread, which I won't spoil here in case you haven't played it, were introduced in Fusion. And while I wouldn't say playing Fusion is required to enjoy Metroid Dread, it greatly enhances the experience. So if you're one of the people that haven't yet played Dread, I highly recommend you play and beat Fusion first. But those are just 4 reasons to play Metroid Fusion when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. If you need any more reasons though, check out my review on the top left. Until next time, bye-bye.